Breaking news, everybody. Joe Manchin is trying to stop President Biden's new social spending plan from passing Congress this month. The Minority Leader Mitch McConnell wants Democrats to get rid of the entire stimulus bill. So in today's video, I will bring you up to date on the latest stimulus news and information. So you want to be sure to stay until the end of this video. And Joe Manchin, everybody, may delay President Biden's Build Back Better plan until next year over inflation worries.
I mean, that is what we're hearing from my constituents. They're not talking about inflation, by the way. They're talking about, hey, I don't have enough money in my budget to pay for the things I need to pay for. And the reason I say it that way is because it's really important to understand that if you're on a fixed budget, as many people are, as I have been in my life, then what you're always trying to do is balance what you have to spend with what you have in that budget. The way that we can fix that immediately while the supply chain issues are being worked out, while the economy recovers from COVID and the worst economic downturn we've seen in recent history, is we can actually help families cut their costs. How do we do that? We passed the Build Back Better Act. We cut childcare costs in half by assuring that no family is going to pay more than 7%. We ensure that pre-K is provided for 3- and 4-year-olds. We cut the cost of pharmaceutical drugs so that people can actually pay less for their health care. Those are the things that are going to immediately affect people's pocketbooks. And that is why it is so important to pass the Build Back Better Act, which I think is actually going to help people survive through this time of recovery. Let's be clear. It is going to take time to recover. We knew that. We have made tremendous progress on COVID, but my families are telling me, look, I still don't have childcare. My kids are just starting to get vaccinated and go back to school. That's the uncertainty that families are living with, and we have to respond by cutting their costs, which is exactly what we do in Build Back Better.
Attitude of the great Negro at the time pitcher in the Negro Leagues went on to become a great pitcher in the pros into the Major League Baseball after Jackie Robinson. His name was Satchel Paige. And Satchel Paige, on his 47th birthday, pitched to win against Chicago. And all the press went in and said, Satch, it's amazing. 47 years old, no one's ever pitched to win at age 47. How do you feel about being 47? He said, boys, that's not how I look at it. I said, how do you look at it, Satch? He said, I look at it this way. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? I'm 50 years old, and the ambassador's 47. But all kidding aside, Mr. Ambassador, thank you for your service during World War II, as well as your service as an ambassador. And thank you for raising such a fine man, Tony Blinken, our Secretary of State. To all our veterans, past and present, we thank you, we honor you, and we remember always what you've done for us. I'd like to recognize one of our national heroes who is here today, Medal of Honor recipient, Mr. Brian Thacker. During the Vietnam War, then First Lieutenant Thacker put the safety of his fellow troops above his own, providing cover fire against an attacking enemy, and even calling in artillery fire from his own position, so our forces had a better chance to withdraw. Wounded, unable to leave the area, he evaded capture for 8 days, until finally federal friendly forces retook the position. Yours is a remarkable story. It'll never be forgotten. We'll also never forget the stories of American leaders and icons we've lost recently, who shaped our nation in ways that are hard to measure. I've lost, like many of you, 3 good friends in the last month. General Colin Powell, a child of immigrants who grew up to be Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff and Secretary of State, a man who was a friend but who earned the universal respect of Americans and people for his leadership in uniform and out. and a guy who became good friends many times. I was in and out of Iraq as a vice president and a senator. General Ray Odierno. I met him multiple times in Iraq, and who did so much to help get us where we are today.
The $1.75 trillion proposal aims to expand the social safety net in the United States and also boost the climate change policy. The House of Representatives passed a separate $1 trillion package of highway, broadband, and other infrastructure improvements last week. It was passed by the Senate in August, and Biden has spent the last few months promoting the merits of both pieces of legislation. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the House of Representatives intends to pass the Build Back Better legislation the week of November 15th. Manchin's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the report. And Mitch McConnell is upping the pressure now on Manchin and Sinema to scuttle Biden's social spending plan. McConnell argued that Democrats should have dropped the whole thing, referencing the bill after last week's elections in Virginia and New York. McConnell said if the Democrats in the Senate, all 50 of them, fall in line, that they can pass it. If any one of them isn't there in a 50-50 Senate, it will be defeated. The two Senate Democrats who are resisting, Joe Manchin from West Virginia and Chris Sinema, will see how strong they are. But now, because Democrats are trying to pass a spending bill using budget rules that let them bypass a GOP filibuster, they need total unity from the Senate caucus to pass the legislation. Manchin and Sinema have raised concerns for months over aspects of the bill, including a $3.5 trillion top-line figure the Democrats greenlighted this year. Earlier this year, beyond shrinking the overall size of the bill, the White House and Democrats have made changes throughout in response to the moderate pair, including changes on tax, climate, and expanding Medicare. Republicans view Manchin and Sinema as their best shot at getting changes into the bill. Through a chaotic process known as Vote-A-Rama, where Republicans get proposals into legislation or scuttle the bill altogether. But still, President Biden said the bipartisan infrastructure bill passed in the House of Representatives on Friday will lower the price of consumer goods. Biden to reporters, along with other plans that I'm advancing, this bill is going to reduce the cost of goods to consumers, businesses, and get people back to work, helping us build an economy where everybody's better off. And the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill allocates $550 billion in new spending over 5 years towards roads, bridges, railroads, and broadband internet, and other projects as well. The remarks come after the Labor Department announced that the Consumer Price Index increased 6.2% from the previous year, the highest increase in 31 years. The Consumer Price Index also rose 0.9% from the previous month. Biden attributed the high inflation to supply chain issues from the fallout crisis. So, what are your thoughts on President Biden so far, folks? Tell me in the comments down below.
Who worked in our factories, who served us in the armed forces. Do we stand with them and expand Social Security, or do we listen to those on Wall Street and corporate America who want to cut Social Security benefits and in some cases want to privatize Social Security? This is a huge issue for